There's typically a pattern that we see with Donald Trump, and here it is. If Trump says something one time, we can write it off. As long as it's only one time. Because Donald Trump likes to fire off ideas, talking points, weird thoughts that he has, and most of the time, that's it. Like, you're not going to hear about that weird, crazy thing he said again. But if he says it again, then you'd better believe it is something that is obviously embedded in his brain, but more importantly, something he definitely wants to happen. And last week, we saw Donald Trump not once but twice talk about prosecuting media outlets that he doesn't like. Prosecuting them for putting out stories that might criticize him or that may be unflattering to him. He did it last weekend when he suggested that we should prosecute all the pollsters for election interference. And then again, later in the week, at 9:36 a.m., he got on Truth Social and put out this 316-word rant, effectively calling for criminal investigations into media outlets. Here is what he said. Again, it's a long one, so bear with me, but I'm reading it all. The case we have against 60 Minutes, CBS, and Paramount is a true winner. No, it's not. You're going to lose that one easily. They cheated and defrauded the American people at levels never seen before in the political arena. Kamala Harris, during early voting and immediately before Election Day, was asked a question and gave an answer that was so bad and incompetent that it would have cost her many of the votes that she ended up getting. It was a disastrous answer. 60 Minutes and its corporate parents, in order that this not have a negative impact on her, removed and deleted Kamala's entire answer, every word of it, and replaced it with a response that she gave later on to an entirely different question. That, of course, is not true. They have released the entire interview. Everything Trump just said was completely false and has been repeatedly debunked. Just putting that out there so everybody's aware. But he continues. The new answer was not good, but it didn't show gross incompetence like the one that was removed by 60 Minutes. In other words, 60 Minutes perpetrated a giant fraud against the American people, the Federal Elections Commission, and the Federal Communications System. So right there, he's laying the groundwork to add, they committed fraud against the government. Right? Which they didn't. Even if they did do what he said they did, which they didn't, that wouldn't rise to a criminal level by any extent. And for the record, if it did, then Fox News would also be prosecuted. Because Fox News did do that with Donald Trump. They literally did everything he is accusing 60 Minutes of doing. Fox News did multiple times throughout last year's campaign. So you want to prosecute, just be aware, Fox News is going to get it much harder because the evidence against them has already been confirmed. But it continues. Despite all of the above and Paramount, CBS, 60 Minutes admittance to this crime, and with other similar corrupt removals of answers to questions, the failing New York Times, which is fake news both in writing and polling, claims that people said that the case is baseless. They don't mean that. They just have a non-curable case of Trump derangement syndrome, possibly to the point where the Times interjection makes them liable for tortious interference, including in elections, which we are intently studying. The bottom line is that 60 Minutes and its corporate owners have committed. Bottom line is that what 60 Minutes and its corporate owners have committed is one of the most egregious illegalities in broadcast history. Nothing like this, the illegal creation of an answer for a presidential candidate, has ever been done before. Actually, Fox did it last year, by the way, just so you know. Just so you know, Fox News did it for you. CBS did not do it for Kamala Harris. They have to pay a price for it, and the Times should also be on the hook for their likely unlawful behavior. It is vital to hold these liars and fraudsters accountable. There is no legal case against any of these outlets. Even if they had done what Trump says they did, which again, they did not, that's still not illegal. So again, there's no legal case, but he admitted, he says, we're investigating it. We're investigating them. There is a criminal investigation, apparently, into these media outlets because Donald Trump is mad at them because they reported things he doesn't like. They gave Kamala Harris a 60 Minutes interview and I backed out of it because I'm a pussy. That's what happened. That's what you're mad about. And you're mad that they called you out before they aired the interview with Kamala Harris. That's what you're pissed off about. Let's never forget that, folks. New York Times. You don't like their polls because their polls, just like everybody else's polls, show that the public overwhelmingly hates you. But again, not illegal. Even if those polls are off by a few points, even if their presidential polling was off, that's not illegal. That is what their numbers showed. But here's the thing. Trump knows he's not going to secure any convictions against these people or organizations or whatever. But that's not the point. The point is not the convictions. The point is to do one of two possible things. And Trump doesn't care which one it is. He wants it to happen. The first one is you bankrupt them with nonstop investigations, forcing them to hire lawyers, to sit for depositions, to make their lives hell. And for the record, we did have members of Donald Trump's campaign who openly admitted that was going to be the goal, or Trump allies, I should say. That's going to be the goal with investigating people like Liz Cheney and the other folks that Biden ultimately pardoned. It wasn't because they did anything illegal that they thought they could get a conviction for. It was, we just want to put them through hell and make them waste all their money. So that is the first outcome that Donald Trump would like. The other possible outcome is you don't file criminal charges, but instead you scare them into submission to where they're too afraid to criticize you. They're too afraid to post their polls showing that everybody hates you. That's what I think he would prefer. He would rather have all of these media outlets bow down to him than have them go bankrupt. Because a media that doesn't exist obviously can't fawn over you every day. He would rather have the fawning. So that is the goal of this. And this, as with everything else in this administration, is just the first step. There will be more. There will be escalation. There will be other media outlets targeted. Maybe big, maybe small. Maybe corporate, maybe independent. We don't know. He could start going after YouTube channels. He could start going after independent websites. He could do all of that. Not that any of us have done anything wrong, but he could do that knowing that he could easily bankrupt almost all of us with lengthy, protracted legal battles that ultimately we'd win, but it would be a Pyrrhic victory because it would cost us everything in order to fight it off. He does have the power. He has the DOJ at his back. They can destroy people's lives. And I promise you, because he mentioned it twice in 1 week, this is what he's doing. Hell, he admitted it's what he's doing. Just not those goals that I had stated. That's what he's trying to do. And when he finishes with the big ones, he'll start coming after the smaller ones too. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.